Well, first of all, the EP Wired Lounge, this is awesome. And for those, anybody who can't see it, you can't see it from up here. You can see everything, and I think that's really cool. So, and then for me, it's kind of like targeting people. Like, oh, I should go talk to that person, so you can see everybody, right? So that's cool. But I've been coming to all the iterations of what the Close Protection Conference has been from the early 2000s, not as steadily as I have for the Close Protection Conference with the IPSB, because I got involved right when the IPSB kind of started hosting the conference, and I've been heavily involved in it, just in the sense of I like to. Obviously, I like to network, right? I like to be useful, right? And I want to help, and I want to help the industry. I'm all for personal growth and things like that. So I like other people to kind of experience that if they can, and what's good for them, and how they can grow, whether they're a business or whether they are an individual looking for to find a job, whether they're transitioning out of law enforcement, military. That's why I like coming here, and my my advice is that this is where you want to be, simply because of the belly to belly conversations that you can have with all walks of life in the industry. People often overlook. I've been talking about this a lot the last couple of days. Is networking is such an opportunity, a learning opportunity. Because let's start first, there's men and women here, right? There are people from the United States, people from Israel, people from Germany, from Mexico. Like, it is international field, so you have that experience to pull from. Some people they do nothing but driving, or they come from law enforcement, or they come from the military. They're different faiths, they're different ethnicities, like, all these things, and they're all in one place at one time, but with the focus of executive protection. And how do we make it better? And so they're able to pull from those resources. And if you're in this room, there's all these conversations that you can have, and all this learning that can be done without you really realizing it. But if you can approach it from that perspective, you get so much more out of it, in my opinion. I'd like to think that there's some preparation that goes behind it. Like, I know this is my first time. I should do some mental preparation, especially if I don't necessarily like networking, or I'm new to it, or I'm new to doing it formally with any sort of plan. But the biggest thing is, like, people here want to help. That you come here to connect, you come here to learn. So to be intimidated, I understand that, but I always tell people if they're walking into it, because I look at this as a big networking room, right? I know that there's been great speakers, and that's fantastic. But considering what I preach, I look at it as a networking opportunity. One strategic kind of bit of advice is find somebody else who's standing by themselves. If they're alone, they need somebody to talk to, and so do you. Now, I said it to somebody the other day. They're like, "Yeah, and disturbing my peace." And I'm like, "Then don't be. If you want peace, this is the wrong place. Go someplace else. Stay at home." But if you want to come here, you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to get to whatever the next step is for you in this industry, it absolutely can happen here. Well, my experience has always been good. This is the first time, actually I should say this is the first time where I've actually had a job while I've been here. I was part of the planning committee, and so I have responsibilities while I'm here. In the past, I've been a promoter of it. I've talked about it. I've put posts out, social media, like all that stuff. And then I'd be here and I'd ask the board members or the committee members, "Hey, do you need anything? Can I be helpful?" No, we're good. Okay, great. And then I'm out talking to other people. This is the first time I'm like, "You have a job. You need to do this, whatever that is, and then you need to do this." And so that's been new to me. And so I'm adjusting to that a little bit. I like it because the people that I get to be around and the people that I get to talk to, and I get to meet the keynote speaker this morning before pretty much anybody else. So that was pretty cool. But moving forward, I mean, I think they're going to be moving locations from it's like, the last few years or last 5 or 6 years it was Vegas, Dallas this year. They're going to announce tomorrow, I think, where the next location is, and so I don't know what that looks like. I'd like to see it, continue to grow. This is each year has been a growth. This year, we not for nothing, we kind of evened out with the growth. Hard to say why. Maybe because it wasn't in Vegas. Maybe because it was in Dallas. I don't know. But either way, I'd like to see more growth. I'd like to see more people understanding what happens here. A couple people their first time here, they're like, I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this, and it way exceeded what I thought it would be. So I would like to hear more of that, or more of those stories. I think it's communication. Like anything, any relationship with anybody, right? Whether it's you and I speaking in a professional capacity, in your home life, or when you're out on detail, how many times it's like you might not ever have to do anything tactically. You might never have to do a J turn or something like that, but you are always communicating with somebody, whether it's your principal, whether the EAs, whether it is the venue where you're going. Communication, it branches or bridges, I think, so many gaps, and I would say most of them, if you can have a clear understanding of what that other person or other group or whatever, what the other half of that conversation, you can't, how do I say that? You can't make them understand, but you can communicate as clearly as possible. But it's still translated in the receiver's ear as opposed from the sender's tongue. So, but communication is just big, and I think that's one of the biggest pieces of it. As far as networking goes, but you think about if you operate solely in DFW, right, or Vegas or whatever, going out to those places that you go to or that you might go to and making friends with the hotel manager, where you may have an inbound detail coming, or the restaurant that was a big thing. I lived in Vegas for about 14 years, so when people needed stuff in Vegas, I got a call because, hey, listen, do you know anybody here? No, but I know somebody. And you never want it to be more than like a second person away. So, even if I had to just put them together or say, no, I do know somebody. But again, it's always just communication and understanding appropriateness of communication. There's some things that you wouldn't say to your principal that you might say to your team member. So, but it's always, especially with that, it's always in a professional capacity or a professional tone. As far as Maverick goes, we're growing, all the time. It's been a pretty quick rise for what we do or what we've done. And I think a lot of that comes from the network that I had, the experience that Dave Schlechte, the CEO of the company, has. John Miller, who's another partner, he's been sitting, he's a MBA that has been sitting in Fortune 500 meetings for the last 20 years. So we had these, and Dave's a serial entrepreneur, and then I'm some guy who likes to talk to a lot of people, but I have been over for the last 20 years. So that, that I think all partnered together, helps build what Maverick is doing. And so for us, it's growth, right? And so we're looking at a great 2024, and we're excited to be doing that. I'm going to continue kind of on Maverick's behalf to host networking events. EP Mixer will be coming up a couple of times throughout next year. And we're not sure yet how many times, but there'll be a number of events for people to attend, and that's what we're doing.
Sounds amazing.